man, you got a lot of critical races. You got a Senate race, a presidential race. You got state legislative races. You got everything in the world going for you. And we can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy day. And this is the most important person in the most important state in the entire country right now. I think everybody agrees you can't lose Pennsylvania and win the election. So
no, man.
I think that you can't do it.
Well, so this is it.
All right, Al, here we go.
All right, our guest is the governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, a formidable figure in the Democratic Party. Governor, it's nice to have you. It's actually a return visit, so it's good to have you back again. Pennsylvania in the political world is what Florida used to be. Everybody says it could determine the outcome. I looked at a dozen polls this month. 4 had Harris up, 2 had Trump up, 6 had it tied. Who has the upper hand right now, 6 weeks out?
Look, Al, I mean, it's basically a tied race at this point. And just some context, the last 2 presidential races in Pennsylvania came down to 44,000 votes and 80,000 votes. That's about a percentage point or less. So the way I kind of look at these things with, 40 days or so to go is, who would I rather be? And I'd rather be Kamala Harris. Now, you'd expect me to say that. So let me offer some sort of data to back that up. I think she is not only doing a great job of kind of getting the band back together, right, getting the coalition back together, but she's also playing on his side of the field. She's in places like Beaver County. Her campaign's been in rural communities. I was with her in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, a week or 2 ago. Point is, she's playing on their side of the field. And, to kind of put this in football terms, I mean, you can get into the red zone in Pennsylvania, but picking up that last yard or 2, it's a bitch. It is hard to do, but I'd rather be us than them right now. I think she's got some momentum, and I think she's playing on his side of the field.
Well, James and I are both Pennsylvania junkies. He ran important campaigns there, and I grew up in your neck of the woods. So let me just go through some of the state. Those 4 big Philadelphia suburbs, your home territory. Once solid Republican, now they're clearly blue. It was Biden's margin in 2020. Can Harris replicate that margin in Montgomery, Chester, Bucks, and Delaware?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's got the momentum to be able to do that. We got a lot more work to do. I think one of the issues that really resonates in the Philadelphia suburbs, which taken alone, if you kind of think of the suburbs as a city, it's bigger than Philadelphia, just to give your viewers and your listeners a sense of how important it is. And I think a big issue is freedom and abortion and a woman's right to just simply make decisions over her own body. And of course, Donald Trump is the one that ripped away that freedom from millions of women here in Pennsylvania and across the country. So I think not only can she build on the coalition that Biden put together last time, but I think she's in a really strong position to really focus on the issues that matter a lot in the burbs.
You mentioned Philadelphia, and the last time there was a really impressive, I think this is right, black turnout there was with Obama, and everybody's tried hard, and Biden got a huge percentage. But, I'm hearing from some Democrats it's still hard to get a turnout, and Trump is cutting into some of that black vote in the city.
Yeah, I don't know if Trump's really cutting into it, Al, and I don't mean to be argumentative with you. I hear your point on this. I do think it's important that we remember that the map looks really different from 2008, and it looks really different from James's big wins in 92 with Bill Clinton, in the sense that Philly's critically important, don't get me wrong. But, the suburbs weren't in play for James back in 92. They weren't even in play to the degree that they are for Obama in 08. So I think the math around the state has changed quite a bit. And I think you're going to see Kamala Harris do incredibly well in the city and boost turnout in the city. And I think you're also going to see her be able to play in the Philly burbs in a really meaningful way.
Well, you'll forget more than I know, but those 4 suburbs turn out more votes than Pittsburgh and Philadelphia combined.
It's 44% of the overall electorate. And so it's a huge amount when you think of kind of what we would call the Philadelphia media market minus Philadelphia even.
Let me ask you one more and then turn it over to James. You mentioned she had been in some of those red counties, those working class areas. I again have been told, I don't know if it's right, Republicans certainly say this, that she's kind of right. She's running behind where Biden was in the Northeast and Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I don't know what the data is to back that up. I mean, we effectively have a tied race at this point.
Right.
And the last two races came down to a point or less. And so, of course, it's going to be close. So, I mean, I'm not sure if if the Republicans' rhetoric is right and she's really behind. Well, then the corollary to that is then Trump is behind in other areas as well. If you're looking at effectively a tied race, there's 40 days to go. And they got to run through the tape. And like I said before, picking up that last yard or two in the red zone is really tough here. And they're going to be competing in all corners of the Commonwealth. Again, you've got in Kamala Harris a candidate who can compete, not just in the suburban and urban areas, but in the rural areas as well, and make some inroads.
James.
So, Governor, let's get right to it and use 2020 as our benchmark. Do you think fewer people about the same will vote in 2024 as voted in 2020 in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, we've seen an increase in registrations. I brought about automatic voter registration in Pennsylvania, and you've seen a real interest in people registering to vote that way. So you got more people who are eligible. Look, I think there's a lot of enthusiasm for the former president. There's a lot of enthusiasm for the vice president. And so kind of how that all plays out, obviously, I don't know yet. But I'm seeing in the areas of the state that can generate big turnout that historically have had high percentage of the voters in their area turnout. I'm seeing a lot of enthusiasm for Kamala Harris.
So Governor, appropriately, the Philly suburbs and the city of Philadelphia gets a lot of attention, and a lot of people talk about the T, which is let's just call it, for lack of a better term, we know what it is, but it's on the center and northern part of the state. I never think Allegheny gets enough attention.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of votes. Allegheny County is Pittsburgh and the surrounding areas for the uninitiated here. So I want to go north of Allegheny, and while I got you here, I got to put in a pitch for my friend Tom Hagen. He really wants to get Governor Waltz to Erie. So whatever you can do, and I'm going to really, to the extent I can push anything, is to get Governor Waltz. And I think it'd be a smart place for him to go to Erie. Honestly.
There's no. First off, I love Tom Hagen, and I thought Tim went up to Erie recently, and I think it'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to have him back and have the vice president there. I go to Erie all the time. Erie is sort of one of these critically important swing counties. I've been privileged to win in Erie every time I've been on the ballot, and it's an area where you got to compete really, really hard, and it's an area that I think is up for grabs right now. So spending a lot of time there, Democrats are, both the surrogates and the candidates, and I'm going to continue to do everything I can to help there.
You know, things over my career, we were lucky if we thought we'd get 37 in Philadelphia burbs in the 4 counties. We would be on track to winning. Of course, that no longer is the case. Yeah. But the one constant is Erie is, and looks like will continue to be a kind of 50-50 county.
It's a bellwether. Yeah, there's no question. And look, Erie's also had some economic challenges over the last number of years. Now, we've made progress here. We made some critical investments there. And so I think the economic message is really important. And that's where I think you see a stark contrast, right? Kamala Harris talking about cutting child care costs, right? Having a child care tax credit. She's talking about investing in small businesses, putting money into small businesses and cutting taxes. That's the kind of stuff that resonates real well in Erie, unlike I think cutting taxes for those who are at the top of the earning bracket. No offense to them, but I think what you really need to see on an economic message is something that speaks to the middle class, strengthens our union jobs and our unions in general, and that's Kamala Harris.
So, Governor, before I turn back to Al, we obviously have a very critical Senate race there with, my dear friend Senator Casey. Do you expect that Senator Casey will run a little bit ahead of Vice President Harris, or you expect it to be about the same? Or how do you look at the differential there?
Look, we'll see. It's close. I think poll after poll that shows the presidential race effectively, a dead heat, shows Senator Casey with a little bit of a lead. But listen, these races are close, James. You know that. And the guy that Casey's up against is like a bottomless pit of special interest money. And so you got a whole lot of money being spent against Bob Casey. Bob Casey is an honorable man. He is a dear friend. He votes Pennsylvania values in the United States Senate. He gets stuff done. He's focused like a laser beam on cutting costs for folks. And look, I mean, the guy he's running against, he's just like not from here. He doesn't get it. And I think a lot of Pennsylvanians understand authenticity, and Bob Casey is authentic.
Well, I'm going to turn it back to you. I'll just make the point, as Senator Casey said, I was his first boss when he worked on his dad's campaign.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with everything you said about Senator Casey, Governor, but those private equity and hedge fund guys are going to spend $100 million. That's a real risk for him. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Without question. And I think I said that to James. I mean, look, it's just a bottomless and endless supply of money here going against Bob Casey, and it's all nasty negative ads that they're using to attack him. He's in a serious race. James was asking kind of that differential there. I think there's a little bit of a differential. Bob's running a little bit ahead, but the reality is these races are really, really close, and the Senate race is going to be close. And I hope folks who are watching head on over to bobcasey.com and chip in $2, $3, $4, $5, whatever they can afford. It matters.
You got three potentially close House races, a couple Democrats in the Northeast, Cartwright and Wild, and you have a shot, I'm told, at Scott Perry in Harrisburg and York. Do you?
Yeah, without question. I mean, I think there's three races I'm keeping an eye on where I'm campaigning for these members. In fact, I'm doing an event for them this weekend. Matt Cartwright in the northeastern part of the state, sort of think Scranton area, Susan Wild in the Lehigh Valley, and Chris DeLuzio in the southwestern part of our state outside of the Pittsburgh area. We got to hold all three of them. And I think we will. Those folks are working really hard and doing a nice job. I think we got an opportunity to really pick up that seat in the south central part of our state. Think like the Harrisburg area. Janelle Stelson is an awesome candidate. She is doing a hell of a job. I campaigned with her recently. And she's running against a guy who like literally votes against the interests of Pennsylvania all the time. He votes against funding for our roads and bridges, votes against our firefighters even. And of course, he had a hand in January 6th. I mean, he really is someone who has seemingly sworn an oath of loyalty to Donald Trump instead of the American flag in this nation. I mean, Scott Perry, literally after the mob was cleared from the state capitol on January 6th, he went to the well of the House of Representatives, rose to his feet, sought recognition from the chair of the House of Representatives at the time, and proceeded to say that the votes of the good people of Pennsylvania should be thrown out because Donald Trump told him to say that. Remember, these are the same people who voted for him. And yet he went to the floor of the House of Representatives to say, wait, my election counts. I'm coming back here as your congressman. But the election for president was unjust. And I think that speaks to his lack of character. And I think folks see through that. And I think, whether it's the practical things like the I-83 South Bridge, which I've been trying to get funding for a while, a lot of people have. Bob Casey voted for that, right? Joe Biden delivered funding for that. And literally Scott Perry, the biggest, most important infrastructure project in his district for generations, voted against it. So whether it's that practical stuff or whether it's his work to undermine democracy, I think Perry is really vulnerable.
Governor, another contest that you care a lot about are the State House of Representatives. You have a one vote margin. Can you hold that margin or increase it, or what's it look like right now?
Yeah. Al, here's a fun fact for you. I'm the only governor in the entire country with a divided legislature. I'm literally the only one. And so I've got a House that's led by Democrats by one vote and a Senate that's led by Republicans by 3 votes. So it is razor thin. I think the House and the Senate are in play. I think we can expand our majority in the House of Representatives. And I'm campaigning across Pennsylvania to help those state reps out quite a bit.
James?
So, Governor, I know you're busy, but I just want to say that I have faith that Senator Casey is going to win re-election because he is being advised by your dear friend and the Eskimo South Shore, and I think Saul is worth a point and a half. Now, don't tell him I said that because go right to his goddamn head.
He's going to watch this. Everybody's going to know it. Yeah.
Everybody's going to know. Well, Governor, I know you're busy. I just could sit here and talk Pennsylvania politics with you all day, but man, you got a lot of critical races. You got a Senate race, a presidential race. You got state legislative races. You got everything in the world going for you. And we can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy day. And this is the most important person in the most important state in the entire country right now. I think everybody agrees. You can't lose Pennsylvania and win the election. So
no, man.
I think that you can't do it.
Well, so this is it. We are, I think, the epicenter of our democracy. But by the way, guys, y'all are students of this. We've been the epicenter of this for 248 years, ever since one of my predecessors, Ben Franklin, walked out after signing the Constitution to the cobblestone streets of Philadelphia. And a woman walked up to him and said, "Mr. Franklin, what do we have? A monarchy or a republic?" And what did Franklin say? He said, "A republic if you can keep it." And so those 5 words have been our charge here in Pennsylvania for the last 2.5 centuries. We're working hard to keep it. And we're working hard to keep it from the state ledge races to Congress to, of course, the United States Senate and the presidency. And I'm going to be working my tail off to do what my predecessor said to keep our republic.
Governor, I think you got a good shot in all those races, but I tell you what, I don't think you have a good shot at. I don't think the Phillies are going to win. I think between the Dodgers and the Yankees.
Al, come on.
Oh, I knew that would get you. Huh?
That pissed me off, Al. Why are you saying that?
Ohtani. That's why. Ohtani. One word.
Let me tell you, we I think it was about a month ago, we swept the Dodgers in L.A.
Yeah.
The Phils, listen, they've had a little bit of a rough patch in the second half, but they get hot. No one can beat them. Ohtani is incredible. I mean, he's 50-50 guy. Maybe he ends up being a 60-60 guy. We'll see. Not sure there's enough games left, but he's just an incredible guy. But I think, up and down the lineup in the bullpen, we've got a better team, and I'm feeling really good. It's a red October, baby. Only on the baseball side.
James, I think he cares about that one. I think his passions really came out.
Hey, I'm very passionate about my sports.
I tell you, the guy that I think embodies the Philadelphia spirit is Bryce Hoffman. We had him in Washington. That guy plays to win. He plays hard.
Yeah,
and I think the world of Bryce. And
he's awesome.
You got another pretty good LSU guy in there, Nola.
Well, you got it's a Nats alumni club. Trey Turner and Schwarber.
Oh, I love. Trey Turner.
We gave them all up.
We got Trey. We got Schwarbs. Obviously Harp, and Harp is just, all of them are just, they're like blue collar, tough Philly guys. The community loves them. And they're great. And by the way, Nola is a hell of a pitcher and just a chill guy. I've had the chance to spend a little time with him. You keep sending those great LSU prospects up here, James. Okay.
Okay, Governor, we'll do that. And good luck to you. Thank you so much for coming on. This kind of insight can't get anywhere else. Thank you so much, sir. And I know you're a busy man, so let's go back to work, and I'll see you up there, I'm sure, before it's over.
Come visit us soon. We'll see you guys later.